Hello, friends and family. So good to be with you. I, my mind is having a hard time pulling things together, but I thought, well, I can't delay anymore. So, this is kind of how my mind is these days. It is struggling. It's got this sleepy feeling in here and it's slow. It makes my mind slow. And so that is a huge prayer need for me right now. Okay, I am 8 months today. Today is my transplant birthday, 8-month birthday. So I'm 8 months out from transplant, which feels incredible and makes me more able to get out of my quarantine, which is changing my life. It's so amazing, the connections I'm able to make with people. Let's see. Yeah, so I couldn't believe it. The last time I did a video was May 3rd, and this is June 18th. So anyway, I thank all of you who have asked me for a new video, and so I'm going to try to give you a rundown of kind of how things have been going and my thoughts, and that's kind of how we do. Since the last time I did this, I was planning and preparing to go on a trip with my mom and sisters, right? Well, we did that. So much has happened since then. We did that and it felt amazing. I went back to my childhood beach. I hadn't been in 3 years, and usually we would try to go every year. And it was definitely healing. It was healing being at the beach. It was too chilly for me to go in the ocean, which I love so much, but I stood at the water and, put my feet in the water and listened to the roar of the ocean and the waves, and it was fantastic. We didn't spend too much time at the beach. We mostly hung out, and it was a short trip. Anyway, it was wonderful connecting. It was amazing to be on the road to an actual vacation. Yeah, that felt amazing. Mom had a little bit of illness, and that was not fun, but we had fun with her, and it was a great time. So that was mid-May, and let's see, and the big trip that was amazing was just a week ago. The reason it was bigger amazing is that there were 50 people at this retreat, and my doctor let me go. So it was the Habit Writing Retreat, Writers Retreat, and I went 2 years ago, right before the August when my scleroderma started. It was the June I went, and man, June and July, I just was so excited about writing and about counseling, and I was about to start a ballet class, all that stuff. I was feeling just excited about life, and then all that just turned a corner, and life went you could say downhill, but from God's perspective, I'm sure he viewed it as downhill and also uphill. So anyway, my doctor let me go, and I didn't have to wear a mask, which is crazy to me, but I didn't get sick. It was not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and I hugged people, I hugged everybody. I just forgot all about being sick. I just, I mean, not totally, because people would say, you know, how long have you been in the habit? And I'd have to tell them about my long reprieve from it and why. And then I also had to take a couple of rests. The planning team, they were fantastic, and they were like, Jamie, if you ever need to take a rest, we have, you know, our quarters upstairs and you can go. And I did. I went upstairs once and took a rest in their bed. And it was just so loving. And and then I took another rest on an outdoor couch on the porch. It was beautiful weather. I was in Nashville, and so it was a 9-hour road trip. And I got to take a road trip with a good friend. We're definitely better friends now after spending 18 hours on the road together. And it was just so fun. We were such good travel buddies, and we were heading to something meaningful and, you know, hopeful, life-giving. Maybe something I could do, writing, you know, that is something that I can contribute. I don't know. So I'm having a lot of doubts about my writing because of my brain. And so I'm praying about that and wondering, can I still do it? So anyway, that was incredible. And it was definitely, I think, a turning point. The trip with my mom and sisters was a turning point of, gosh, you know, I can get on the road. That was 9 hours also, but split up. And I drove myself. Drove with my sister the way there, but on the way back, I drove by myself 4 hours and then 5 hours. And so that was a big turning point in feeling like life is normal. Life is getting back to normal. And then going on this writing retreat also felt like, hey, I can do a lot. I can do a lot. And yes, so my mind is really slow. It's hard. It's hard. You know, so at the retreat, I would have to concentrate so hard to listen to the little lecture conversations, and then also there were presentation times, and so I had to pay such close attention because I lose details and things. It's like, whew, so again, prayer for my brain. Yeah. So, I'll give you a rundown on my health, okay? I had a couple of people ask about my pain or something, and I told them that ever since, you know, I started chemo for the lymphoma last May, before the transplant, all that systemic pain, all the systemic itching went away, and I got off all the pain meds that I was on. And just this week, someone was very surprised to hear that, like they didn't know. And it made me realize, well, I need to repeat that some. It's so huge to be off pain meds, to be out of pain, because the pain meds weren't even stopping all the pain. To be out of pain and itching, it's just, oh my gosh. I mean, to have a slow brain, it's a trial, but it's nothing like the trial I had and that I was in 1 year ago. I mean, really, started almost 2 years ago, August of 2022. But last May is when I was diagnosed again with lymphoma and started the chemo and started the road to the transplant. And I was able to just get off all the pain meds. And, there was no sense of addiction or anything like that. I had no trouble getting off of them. And, that was a whole thing, being on pain meds. I didn't drive because I was on so much pain meds. And I also, my hands were hurting and my legs were stiff. And so I couldn't drive. And now I drive. Now I drive everywhere. And it's easy. It's natural. It's like old times. So I'm just incredibly, incredibly grateful for where I've come. The 1 year, it's crazy. Okay, anyway, and my stomach meds are working well, and a doctor helped me get some cash pay, like 6 months worth of the stomach meds, and the insurance is still working on getting it okayed. And so it's a good thing I had this doctor do this for me. I could afford it. It's very affordable. And I might just do that again, but just in case, I have the insurance working on it. So thank you for praying that I could have the stomach meds. I am doing well. Yeah. It's like I get hungry and it's so great. Like last night, Craig and I went out to eat with John and Lisa for their 40th anniversary. And I was hungry and looking forward to good food. And, there was a time where I didn't have normal hunger. So I'm so grateful. And let's see. But sometimes, I'll eat and then I feel a little nauseated afterwards. Very mild, but kind of, just not normal. But I know a lot of people have lots of stomach issues that they have to deal with. And it helps me to remember that I live under the fall, and along with all my brothers and sisters of humanity, you're all struggling too. You have stomach issues and, mind issues and stuff. And so it's not like I'm going to get to, heaven's level of all this stuff. But it would be nice to get back to where I was before all this. But now my hip is, I can't remember if I said my hip was starting to hurt a little bit again. Did I say that on the last one? It was right before I went on the beach trip. And I was a bit concerned. And then I went and walked on the beach, which is kind of, all that uneven terrain. And my hip started hurting worse at the beach. And so I went to see the doctor as the normal routine. And he was like, oh dear. But he didn't put me back on a crutch. He just said, take it easy, and no more power walking, no more working up your power walking little by little, to stop that altogether and do nothing. And then I saw him 3 weeks later, which was last week, and sorry, I'm a little dry mouth. And I quit having pain as soon as I don't know. Hey, sorry. I just realized something. I have been taking Advil and Tylenol for headaches. And I wonder if that's keeping me from having pain in my hip. I hope not. I hope it's not masking anything. But I wasn't having any pain when I got back from the beach. After about a week, I had no more pain in my hip, and I have no pain in my hip. But I have to take a whole month to work up to walking a mile. So he said, you can start going out and walking on the road, but start with a 1/4 mile, and each week add a 1/4 mile. And so okay, so this has been since February. I've had to have patience. And I still have to have patience. But I'm just so still amazed when I can just walk around, free, walk, and grab things, and just walk and do and chew. It's amazing. And let's see, I'm going back to the beach, and I hope my hip will be okay, because it's going to be a whole week, and it's going to be a real beach trip. So in about 3 weeks, I think. So hopefully I'll be worked up to it. We're taking a trip with our kids and our grandkids. So it's going to be a family trip, our immediate little family. Hannah, Sarah, Sergey, Ben, and the 3 grandkids, Isaiah, Simon, and Mila. So that is going to be fantastic, and that's going to be in July. So, these things are so good. Like truly incredibly amazing. Oh, okay. So the other thing is my, what was I going to say? Well, let me just say, my hair is growing back, as you can see, very slowly. I mean, these curls, if you pull them out, it's still just like barely an inch. Well, I've gotten some cuts though, but still very slow. I'm 8 months out from this thing. So, I don't mind my hair. It's very chemo curly and frizzy, and it's okay. I'm grateful that I don't mind. It's like, oh well, I am me. That's what the Lord wants to tell me, that my soul is me and my body is too, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the worth or the offering of presence. So, yeah. So that's that. told y'all, but that would have been later, that I saw my PT and she was shocked and amazed at all my measurements, that they were, I do remember telling you this. Maybe I did a video after May 3rd. Oh dear. Anyway, she said all of my stiffness measurements were in the normal range, and not normal for me. Like, some of them are getting back to the close to normal range for me. It's craziness. So if you'll remember when I had to put my sock on with that thing, I couldn't reach, and now I reach like so easy. Hey, yeah. But I used to have to do that weird thing with the ropes and all that. Oh my gosh, the Lord has delivered me. So, and then I also went last week to see my occupational therapist, and I hadn't seen either of these people since last May. And it was, kind of emotional and weird going back. But first of all, I drove myself. I used to have a friend or Craig drive me to PT and OT, but this is so different. I drive myself and I go in, and so that felt good to have that difference and to not feel like, oh, I'm going backwards. And then so Angie took my measurements in my hands, and she said they were all better, and she had really not expected anything to change. The last time I saw her, she said, I think this is about as good as it's going to get. So, and I saw Dr. Mays again, and gosh, there's so much to tell. I saw Dr. Mays again, and she said that that it's possible to have softening of the skin, which is what it all is. It's the tightness and thickening of skin that causes all these issues. She said, it's possible to have it continue to change for up to 2 years. 2 years, baby. Crazy. And I was surprised she never told me that before. But anyway, Craig was like shocked. Like, for the first time ever, she was a little bit animated. She's very flat and scientific. I think she was happy to see the changes. So, let's see. So scleroderma is, maybe going to continue to change, and with prayer and God moving, that's what I need, Lord. Okay, so let's see. My wrists, I have a weird hand. Anyway, my wrists are so good. Look at that. They used to not do. I grew up Catholic, and I still like to do the sign of the cross. Dun, dun, dun. And I used to not be able to touch this arm. I couldn't touch it. I don't know, because my wrist wouldn't go. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, I think I think that's all my physical things. Seems like there was one other thing I was gonna say. How are y'all? How are you, friends? Family? Let's see. My dad and the sorrow over losing my dad continues to heal. Father's Day was hard, but good too. You know, just thinking about him and the U.S. Open golf, he always watched, and we always watched too, and we would always call him and talk to him about it. And I missed that. I miss him. And the half of my grief is my own grief, and half of my grief is watching my mother grieve and try to find what in the heck does life and identity mean without the man you fell in love with when you were 13 or 14 years old, and who's been your life companion for 65 years or whatever. Yeah, I mean, married life 65 and longer than that. So it's so hard watching Mom. But she's doing well, and she's a beautiful woman, and she's making the best she can and really seeking God. So, okay, now, okay, my, yeah, did I say already to please pray for my writing? I just don't know. Yeah, I think I did ask. Okay, so anyway, my relationship with God is, it's in process, which everyone thought is our relationship with God is always in process. But my process is still from when I got sick, like it's changed ever since I got sick. And I'm patiently waiting on God to heal me of that, and I trust that He's doing, like, when, I don't think it's if, but when I'm able to connect with Him more consistently and hopefully and deeply, when that happens, I also trust that there's going to be something wholly new that is good in my soul and in our connection. I will say an aside, I am still in counseling, and I go later today at 3:00, and I don't know if this will be posted yet, but and counseling is helping me with the trauma part of things. That sort of underlying fear and sense of danger and threat is like at a 2 now on a scale of 1 to 10. Being out with John and Lisa last night and Craig, it's this lovely time and delicious food and all. But, at one point I was just aware as I was getting the salt shaker, like, just, have that kind of danger thing, but it passes, but it's always there underlying. So that's how my mental health is going. Um, and that's all wrapped up with how I'm able to connect with God. So anyway, I've been reading this book, The Sacred Journey, by Frederick Buechner. Let's see, Frederick Buechner. And he wrote some novels. What's the one he's so known for? Starts with a G. Anyway, I've never read his novels, but he wrote 3 different memoirs of different periods of his life, and this one was the early one. And anyway, he talked about faith. He writes kind of goes on and on a little bit. But he was talking about his own sense of God bringing him as a child. Anyway, he believed that God brought him and his mom and his brother to move to Bermuda, and it was so healing after his father committed suicide. And he says, we have a hard time. So the years in Bermuda just brought all this healing from the beauty and it was such a rich sensory experience. And so he says, we have a hard time seeing such blessed and blessing moments as the gifts I choose to believe they are, and a harder time reaching out toward the hope of a giving hand. But part of the gift is to be able, at least from time to time, to be assured and convinced without seeing, as Hebrews says, because that is of the very style and substance of faith, as well as what drives it always to seek a farther and a deeper seeing still. So he just says faith is everything. Like, you can't have hope without faith. So I was encouraged by that. Like, he talks about the difficulty sometimes in believing, but that it's essential to not despairing. And let's see. And then I was listening to this podcast by the brothers Zahl, Z-A-H-L. It's 3 brothers. And they were talking about faith. It was a podcast on faith, and that's why I chose it. It was recent. And so it's interesting. They talked about patience. Patience with others is love. Patience with self is hope. And I find that with all of my stuff. Being patient with myself brings hope. And this was interesting to me. Patience with God is faith. And with faith, patience is part of it, patience with God. He is slow, often slow in what we count slowness. But when we are patient with him, we are believing and we are having faith that he is involved. So it's living as if God is real and that he loves me. That is faith. Those 3 patience things were by an Egyptian theologian, Adel Vestavros, or something like that. They gave him credit, so I should too. So anyway, it's a slow journey, and Craig and I have the Mississippi kites. They're these birds that came at a crazy, in a crazy way after a retreat I had gone to. And so they have continued to be messengers of God to us. And when we went to the house in Dallas, the morning we woke up, there was one out in a tree that had a dead part, and so you could see the birds so well. And there were two. Craig woke up and he saw them. I didn't see them. He took a picture because Mississippi kites are not very common in Dallas, and there they were right outside the kitchen window when Craig got up the morning we arrived there. And so they show up in late spring and like April and May, and some of them might stay. They travel, they're moving through our area, but sometimes a few will stay back. And we have one that's two. We're assuming two because they have babies. But there's been one right outside our backyard that just perches in a dead part of the top of this really tall tree. And Craig saw, and we've had times of several flying, but in the last few weeks, it's just been one or two. And Craig saw them going back and forth into this one bushy area of that tree. And we're hoping that they were making a nest and having babies. So we looked it up, and it says it takes 30 days for the eggs to hatch. So, and they just do a lot of sitting on the babies. So anyway, that is a way that God makes himself known through nature for me. And church has been a way that God is really, really coming to me. And it's been fantastic. I go, and since all the college students left, there are like 35 or so. There's more room in the church and people are traveling, so it's not so packed as far as me and germs. And so I'm still sitting up on the chancel or the platform or whatever you call it with Craig, and we feel like we're like the pastor and wife who sit in golden chairs. Have y'all ever seen that? But anyway, but after church, I stay till the end, till the last people leave, and I try to have social distancing conversations. I don't go down in the real crowded area. I stay up there and try to talk to people who will come by, and then I get down on the floor a little bit and talk with people. And it's just the connecting is so fantastic. And then Wednesday nights in the summer, there are gatherings are at people's houses, and it's outside. It's been cool enough to be outside. Oh, it's gonna get hot soon. And so I've been going and connecting with people, and it's just so life-giving and wonderful. So I'm telling you, being able to be involved in some things, and I can go to the store whenever I want now, and it's so helpful. It's just so helpful. It's just my mind and my brain that are slow, and I wish I was having afternoons where, in the afternoons, I think I told you, I have energy and I feel productive and can focus on writing even, but lately, the last week, all the time, I'm sleepy, all the time. And I've begun having headaches. That is something from my past, and I take a monthly injection for migraines, and it, for a few years now, 5 years, has taken away headaches altogether. But I started having them in the last 2 weeks. So please pray for God to help me to figure that out and just know. Because that makes me, headaches are just the worst. Makes it hard to concentrate and focus and have energy. Okay, I know a lot of you have headaches too, and it's just terrible. So I hope y'all are doing well. I hope this update has been good. I had better get it going because I got to go. I've got to go have a good day. I have my writing class in an hour on Zoom, and then I have my counseling appointment in Tyler. And I think that's it. Okay, I love you guys. Bye. Anything I need to tell you? I don't know. No, subscribe if you want, please. And that's it.